Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Friday, October 3rd. Happy Friday, everyone. 6:22 right now. We got market opening up in about 8 minutes. So I'm following a couple of trades from this morning pre-market. I was tempted to get into these trades right here at 6 o'clock. So if you saw in the Discord, I had these listed. They're just kind of tricky because I had mixed results for Fridays and then it lost the past NFP. Um, and then of course today is NFP. So I didn't realize this was NFP week until basically last night. Um, and I don't want to take the risk. So I'm following it here. It looks like the trades are running in profit. They're almost on their way down. This one over here is almost at its target from earlier this morning. This was at 510. So if you look at the list over here, we had a 510 entry right there, which is currently running. But the ones that I was, tempted to take were these right here, of course. The other thing that I was kind of worried about taking these entries here was the fact that they would run until 6:30, right, market open. So you can see price is getting really close to the target, but it was a really slow move to the downside. So in a lot of situations, you might have to wait for this to hit target or hit at 6:30. And what I realized over here is that this happens a lot. So obviously, I skip these entries here. I want to take the best possible opportunity with the highest probability. These trades are good, but they don't meet my criteria as good enough to take, especially on a day like this, which is NFP, and obviously the highest manipulated day of the week or the month, actually. Um, One other thing here too that I saw this morning was that the NFP candle barely moved. That's very unusual. You can see over here, this is the NFP candle. There was a spike, but this thing barely moved. Like usually it's like a 100-point spike, right? This here was like a under 20-point spike. It was a 19-point spike for NFP at 5:30. So I thought that was very unusual. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm definitely not taking any trades right now, because there's probably going to be a late reaction to NFP. The reaction is probably going to happen at 6:30 on its when its market opens up. Let me check the news real quick. Yeah, it's the this is probably the smallest move of NFP that I've ever seen. And I've been trading for a while now. Like a 20-point move for NFP, that's crazy. Maybe if it was a holiday, but even on 4th of July this year, it landed on Friday NFP, it still moved pretty heavily. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are looking to take any trades, I'd be careful because today is NFP. But the fact that the NFP candle barely moved is like a huge, huge red flag in my book. So, all right, guys, we got the market opening up shortly in about 5 minutes. So, good morning, everybody. Looks like majority of you guys are starting to make your way in. Again, today is Friday, October 3rd, NFP. It is 6:25. We got market opening up in about 5 minutes. If you guys are just joining in, I have a couple of the entries identified by the algo marked up right here. I'm not in any of these positions, but these are positions that I was looking at prior. So, the first entry over here at 5:11, this one actually hit. So, full TP right there on that one. That was the first one that I marked up for pre-market. There's more entries here, but that's just the first one that I marked up. So yeah, we'll keep following this here. I'm trying to keep trying to document these as they go around. So I have another screen over here with my stickies, and I'm looking at to keep track of these trades here. So I mean, these are still running. So the one right here at 5:30 is still running, and the ones right here at 6 are still running. Again, this is what I was worried about. So I was looking to take these trades here at 6 o'clock, but see how we're getting closer to 6:30 market open and see how price is starting to reverse back to the upside. That's what I was worried about. That's why I decided not to take the trade now. And I'm really glad I didn't because you can see over here that's the case now, right? Price is starting to reverse up. And this would have put me in a really hot spot and tight positioning because market's gonna open in 4 minutes. I don't want to hold on to a position into market open at 6:30. So, all right, guys, let me go ahead and mark up liquidity real quick. I'll do a full analysis of the charts before market opens up real quick. We got 3 minutes here. I'm just gonna mark all this stuff up. We don't have any other entries until 7:10. So we got some time to do some analysis. If I feel comfortable with these entries, maybe I'll take them. But right now, like I mentioned, the market's just not looking too clean right now. So I'm going to be very, very patient and cautious with my entries. I'm not just going to jump into random stuff. I'm in profit for the week. So it doesn't matter so today, if I take a trade and I lose, I'm still in profit for the week. So I'm in the clear. because I made profit earlier this week. I made enough profit to cover basically this entire week. So we'll see what happens here. But I will show you guys. I'll take a screenshot of my accounts right now so far to show you guys what I mean by that. Because I used proper risk this week. We had pretty much this whole week's pretty much been straight wins. And I'll show you on my trader sync. I haven't showed you guys my calendar in a while because September was such a bloody month that I didn't really like look at it very much, and I didn't even update it. I did update it. You'll see in a few. I'll show you my stats for the year so far. Yeah, September was pretty nasty. The thing is, I lowered my risk during September, so actually didn't lose that much. Took losses, but the P&L didn't really get hurt too much. All right, guys, we got everything marked up here. I'll identify the breakout as well if you guys are looking to take the breakout on open. I wouldn't recommend taking it, but if you guys want to take it, I know some of you guys still take it no matter what. Um, the reason why I don't recommend it is because it's NFP. Right, it's NFP, you're gonna get manipulation here on open. But all right, have liquidity there marked up. Looks like market is ready to open up shortly. If you guys are looking to take the momentum breakout on open, the momentum breakout on open is going to be crap, it is going to be a sell. So if you guys are looking to take that momentum breakout on open, it is going to be a sell, guys. I forgot what stats did we put on this, but I mean, I can play around with it later. Let's take a look at the overall trend real quick. So the short-term overall trend is bearish. You can see prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down. Higher time frames are bullish, prices above the pivots, trend meters green, pivots are angling up. So lower time frames bearish, higher time frames bullish. Looking over here at the overall market structure, it's a bullish neutral. So it's bullish on the 1, neutral on the 5, 15, 30, and then bullish on the 1 hour and 4 hour. So market is opening up shortly in a few seconds. And yeah, if you're looking to take the breakout on open, it's going to be a sell. So we got market open here. Breakout's currently running. I forgot what stats did we talk about, which were like the best criteria for the breakout. I don't remember. Here, let's see. I'm just gonna kind of mess around with this a little bit. The 1 minute, and then we had it set to, I think it was a 10 minute, and then we had this set to, I mean, honestly, I don't remember what the best settings were. 829. I'm not in this trade, guys. I'm just following it for you guys. Like I said, I don't like taking trades when the market is highly manipulated, especially on open, and then especially on not just open, but also on on days like this, which is NFP. Sorry, I just blinked out for a second. All right, so good thing I skipped out on all these 6 o'clock entries. You guys can see over here. This is what I was worried about, right? So like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to take these 6 o'clock entries, but I was worried about market open because these trades run, if I take a trade at 6, it's going to run until 6:30. And this is why I decided not to take any of these right here, which is a good thing because look, I would have gone stopped out. So I'm playing it really, really cautiously today because it is NFP. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I just wanted to follow this to see where the trades were running. Obviously, these trades did not play out like how we would have wished to have it play out. I'm going to go and identify these over here as well. So I haven't taken any trades today. I mean, a lot of these entries here that I've been wanting to take, I'll put the stats over here as well. And then you guys will see what I mean about like why I decided not to take these trades here in the morning. So here, let me just, I have a lot of trades here to copy over. Let me see if I could copy all of them. Okay, let's see if they'll fit on here. Okay, so like I said, these trades here at 6 o'clock, I had them identified right here. But see how I had See, like I wanted to take the trade because the win rate was so high. The problem with this here, I looked at the historical data and it said mixed results on Fridays and it lost the past NFP. Today's NFP, so obviously if it loses every NFP, I'm not going to take the trade, even if it has a high win ratio, right? Um, Obviously I'm using common sense here. If it loses every time NFP happens, your best bet is to not take the trade on NFP because if it has such a high win rate, it shows that it wins pretty much every other day, but it loses on NFP, right? So that's why for this right here, I decided to skip. Isn't today NFP? See, yeah, non-farm payrolls right there, or did not get released. Oh, they just updated it. That's crazy. Yeah, so I actually it was here. You guys, am I tripping? I swear I saw NFP that was right here just a few seconds ago. Um, I guess the NFP never got released. So are they moving it to next week? That's so weird. So if you look over here, there's no NFP this whole month because next week is inflation week, CPI data. That's weird. I've never seen it like that where they announce NFP and then it passes time and then the NFP there disappears. Let me see if it's over here on yeah, so they had NFP today. That's weird. That's crazy. What a weird month. Anyways, okay, well, I guess today is not NFP. It was supposed to be NFP, but the data there, they pretty much just deleted it from the list of I'm glad that I have this open because now I know I'm not tripping. Like I know for sure that they had this listed here at 5:30. Okay, anyways, we'll follow along here. We have this huge bullish push to the upside right now. Like I said earlier, I had this data over here marked up. I wanted to take these entries at 6, but I did have them listed where I had them pretty much cautioned out. Mixed results for Fridays and it lost past NFP, etc. So although these have a very high win rate, because they lose typically on Fridays and they lose on NFP, I decided not to take it. And it's a good reason that I did because otherwise it would have lost. So the next entry that's going to be coming up is going to be at 7. Well, the next high win ratio entry is going to happen over here at 751. There's another one at 710, which I'll be looking to maybe get into. The only thing I don't like about the 710 entry is the fact that the win rate is on a very high or a very wide TP stop loss. So it's a 90-point target, 45-point stop loss. I don't really like big moves like that especially for if you're trading a prop account like Apex, because of the trailing drawdown rule. Um, I mean, we'll follow through. We'll kind of see where this ends up going. You know, there's no telling what's going to happen next, but the next entry is going to be here at 7:10. But I just wanted to show you guys right here at 6 o'clock. I had these entries marked up, but I did have notes taken why I was skipping those trades there. All right, so let's see. This 531 over here obviously got spiked, so I'm going to take that off.
Connection lost.
I keep getting connection lost today. Um, yeah, today is a little tricky. The only trade that I saw here that actually played through was this one. It barely hit. This one was at 510. So let's go over here. I'm gonna add the next trade, which is at 710 to my list. I'm just gonna do some analysis on it before it comes up so that we can maybe get into it. The big maybe. So 710 45.90. And if we don't get any entries today, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't need to force any entries here. Again, I'll show you my stats for the week so far. It doesn't matter what trade, like if I win or if I lose today, I'm still going to be in profit. So I'll just take a screenshot of my, so you guys can see like going into this week, this is why I'm not really too, I'm not really itching to take anything right now. If I see something good, then of course I'll take the entry. But if I don't, I'm not like pressured to like jump into anything. This is why it's always important that you guys do the heavy work early in the week. So on Friday, you're not like tempted to get FOMO and jump into a trade. So let's see. Let's go back to the 1 minute here. So the 1 minute would have actually been a buy. If you were trading off the 10 minute, it would have been a sell. If you're trading off the 1 minute here, it would have been a buy. Here, let's go back over here. I'm just gonna leave this to where it was. Crap, I keep downloading this on accident. Um, yeah, let's keep it on the 1 minute. We'll do I'll keep it at 50-50. So the win ratio, if you're trading the strategy on the 1 minute, would be and we'll do this like for a 30-day period. We don't need to go super far back, or even a 90-day period. Going with momentum. So here's a 90-day trading period. If you were to take every 1 minute entry, so it would have been a buy here for the 1 minute. This is why I prefer to stay on the 1 minute. I don't really go on the higher time frames anymore for the momentum. We used to do that before, but the data is a little bit skewed because of the candles on open. I like to just stick to the 1 minute. So looking at the 1 minute over here, you can see if you took every 1 minute breakout, it was a 61.54% win ratio. This is pretty good for a 90-day period. Basically, this is 65 trading days. That's going to be equivalent to like maybe 3 or 4 months. Basically, if you took this trade every day for 3 or 4 months, the breakout on open for 1 minute, this is how much you probably make your profitable trades. You had 40 out of 65 winning trades. If you wanted to break this down even more and you wanted to do something like a 50-25, do a 1 to 2. So the numbers for this here, it would shift around a little bit. It'd be a little less, but it'd still be profitable because you're doing a 1 to 2. That's a 1 to 2. If you're doing a 1 to 1, this is like where it would be. Again, it just kind of depends on like on what you guys prefer. If you like a 1 to 1, like a 1 to 2, you just got to stick to that specific risk reward long term to see the fruits of, the probability. Anyways, there's no entries here right now. Let's take a look at the orb. So the orb over here actually played through. If you guys took the orb, it was right here for a buy, price broken, close past structure. Um, I think this trade would have been skipped because it would have hit 40 already. But if you guys decided to take it there, there's the orb. This is the orb hasn't been hitting at all for the past couple for a pretty long while. But it did hit today if you guys decided to take the orb. So the orb hit, the 1 minute breakout hit, the 10 minute breakout did not hit. Um, and I haven't taken any trades yet so far. I was under the impression that today was NFP. That's why I've been a little bit more cautious. The market's been moving pretty weird pre-market. You can see over here how price was kind of just going back and forth. Plus, the NFP candle wasn't very big. I think what happened is because the NFP data didn't come out, the market just didn't move, right? You can see it's a big spike candle right here at 530, but it wasn't like an NFP candle, like a 100-point candle, right? It looks like we're having the late reaction right here because a lot of people are realizing that NFP actually didn't come out and people are jumping into the market. So like I said, the next opportunity for entry is going to be right here at 710. The entry at 710 has a 63.16% win ratio. Risk reward is 45.90. Let's see, I'm going to just change this a little bit. Yeah, anyways, I'm taking stuff like pretty cautiously right now. Gotcha. Yeah. So a lot of people here are mentioning that NFP probably got delayed because of the government shutdown, which makes sense. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. And thanks a lot of confirming that because I've never seen that before where the NFP was listed and then it actually showed data, but then it disappeared. So it's all good. Let me refresh this. We have news right here at 6:45. So we'll probably see a news reaction. I mean, I don't even know if this data is going to be released either. Because, like we said, the government shutdown, they might not even release the PMI data. This is like really unusual because we've had government shutdowns in the past, but they usually got resolved pretty quickly. So we didn't have this way it kind of cut into our trading days. Trying to see my screener here. My screener's not loading up. I'm
Con-
not to refresh this. I keep getting connection lost on NinjaTrader too. I don't know if anybody's getting these connection loss. I don't know if it's my internet connection or if it's NinjaTrader in general. Let me see. I gotta disconnect and then reconnect. Okay. Anyways, here we have a lot of moving pieces here. Let me just show you guys my stats for the day so far. I keep forgetting to show you guys this. Let me just post this on the Discord real quick so that I can share it with you guys. Today's the 3rd. Okay, so pretty much all this liquidity here got knocked out. I'm gonna clean this up. It's super messy right now. This is pretty much irrelevant at this point because it's all knocked out. Um, I'll clean this up and we'll identify the new areas of liquidity here. But anyways, here are my profits for the week so far. So this is why I mentioned it doesn't matter if I take a win or a loss today. I'm in profit. So these are I have no trades for the day so far. That's why it shows 0 right here for the gross. But for the week so far, I'm currently up like 2,000, 1,000, 3,000, 2,000, right? These are all my profits for the week so far. Um, let me see if my trader sync is here. Okay, I'll update my trader sync. So for this week so far, I'm currently at 54,490. So whatever happens today, if I take a trade, I'm taking half risk. So I'd probably be risking like on this first account right here. If I was to lose a trade, I'd probably risk like maybe 500 or less. So even if I take a loss, I'd still be in profit. That's why today I'm not really like I don't need to force anything because regardless if I win or I lose today, I'll still be in profit for the week. This is the goal, right? Every week your goal is to close the week out in profit. It doesn't matter what happens for the day because it'll balance out throughout the week. But today's Friday, so I want to stay in the green for this week, which is guaranteed basically, unless I trade on tilt, which I'm not going to. But the only way for me to go into the red is if I take like 4 trades and I lose all 4 trades. If I lose one trade, I'll still be in the green. If I lose 2 trades, I'll still be in the green. I use proper risk this entire week, and I'm still using proper risk today. So it doesn't matter like what happens today, I still stay in the green. You want to be in this position, guys. So like trading Monday through Friday, you want to make all your profits early in the week. So on Friday, you don't have to force anything. And if you do force anything, it's not going to really hurt your account, right? So yeah, I just want to show you guys this is why like I'm not really itching to take anything right now because I'm happy with my profits for the week. But if I do see something good here, I'll take it, right? It's a good position to be in for the week so far. And this isn't even all my accounts. I have another one over here. Um, I actually got a lot. So I got 2 of these. So I mean, it's been a pretty great week. If you guys traded with me all week, the algo's been doing numbers. It's been killing it with identifying these proper entries. You just got to understand which trades to take and which ones not to take, right? Don't take the ones that are risky, even though they have a high win ratio. I go through the data, so I understand which ones are risky and which ones are not. Again, we have an entry right here at 710, right? I'll go through my process right now. So these stats right here are for this trade at 710. So I put the statistics over here. It's a 90-point target, 45-point stop loss. The entry right here is at 710. Um, it gives me a 63.16% win ratio. It means 12 out of the 19 trades hit full TP. The next thing that I do here is even though it has a really nice win ratio, I look to see how it's been performing lately, right? So like right now is October 3rd, of course, because it's Friday. What I like to do is I like to go back and I like to look at historical data. So the last Friday was September 26th, right? So I click on September 26th over here. What happened last Friday? It lost, right? So next I'm going to go up to the next Friday and I do everything data driven. I don't just take random trades. Here's the Friday before that, it won. And then the Friday before that's on the 12th, it won. So it's giving some mixed data here with regard, or not really mixed, but it's not necessarily losing every Friday. So this trade could be a possible good one. Um, if I decide to take it. So the 710 entry over here, I maybe will take it. It just kind of depends on what it looks like when we get to market open, or not market open, once we get to that specific time. So the trade right here is identified as an against momentum, right? So because it's against, this is indicating that at 710, it's anticipating a reversal, right? Because price is pushing up right here and momentum is bullish. So what this algorithm is telling me is that when price reaches 710, this is supposed to be a point of reversal, right? And look, check this out. If I do take this as a point of reversal, this is actually a really nice entry. Looking at it from this perspective, because if it is a reversal, it's basically going to fill this gap here, right? Because price is gapping up, and if it does reverse, it's probably going to come back down to fill this whole area right here. So this looks like it's looking like it could be a promising entry. We have a lot of time to analyze this, so I'm just waiting until we get closer to 710. Um, I'm not completely convinced to take the position yet, but this is how my analysis works. Just because it has a high win percentage doesn't mean I'm taking the trade automatically, right? I still like to look back at the historical data to see if this trade's been hitting on Fridays. If it's been losing on Fridays, obviously I'd skip the trade, right? Like you can see over here, there's another entry at 751. This is one that I was wanting to take, but I saw here in the data that it lost nearly every Friday. So every Friday this trade loses, but every other day it typically wins. So although these have really nice setups, these are basically, we've been taking the 751 entry pretty much all week, right? We took this yesterday, we took it the day before. That's how I locked in these profits yesterday. See, look at our entry right here. This entry was at 752 or 751, doesn't matter. We took this trade yesterday, right? It hit. The trade before that from the week prior or the day prior. Look at this entry. What time did we take it? 752. It hit, right? But the thing is, the data shows that it loses on Fridays. It wins pretty much every other day, but it loses on Fridays. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to take the trade on 751, right? You got to use your common sense. If it loses every Friday, the odds of it hitting this Friday out of all Fridays are very unlikely. So even though it's a good trade and we've been hitting this 751 entry pretty much every day for this week, today's probably one of those days where you want to skip it. Um, so just keep that in mind. I'll keep analyzing it and then we'll kind of see what happens. If it looks great, then I'll take it. If it doesn't, then we'll not take it. But our next trade in line is going to be this one at 710. Again, the only reason I'm looking not to take this trade, or the main reason, is because the ranges are super far out. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't like holding on to this position for too long, right? Because this position over here was a 60-30. This thing took how long for it to hit? This trade took over an hour to hit. So just keep that in mind. I'll keep analyzing it. I'll give you guys, some insight as to like what I'm looking for and if I'm looking to take it or if I'm actually going to take it or not. But again, looking at my stats for the week, these are my profits across the board. I don't need to take anything. Right. I think you guys have to get into that mindset where you don't need to take a trade. It'd be nice to take a trade, and of course, it'd be nice to make more profit for the week. But if you're in a good place for the week, there's no need to force anything, right? So yeah, if you guys are in a good position, you have the ability to take more risk for today. I mean, feel free to do it. But if you don't, like for example, if and so right now I'm up 2,000 on this specific account. If this account was only up like a couple $100 or like even 1,000 only, I wouldn't take anything. I basically just not take anything because I would rather close the week out in the green, right? Let me show you guys my stats so these are my stats for the year to the date. So let's see. Pretty much for this entire year of 2025, these are my stats for this week. Let me show you September. September was a bloody, bloody week, bloody month for us over here. So looking at this over here, you guys can see I had a lot of losses, but I lowered my risks. I was only losing like maybe 10,000 or less per day. It was just September was a really bad month overall. A lot of we're in a choppy market. None of the breakouts were working. That's why I adjusted and created my algo to kind of point me in the direction of other trades aside from the breakouts on open. So September was a red month for me, but it wasn't that red, right? It was cool because the previous month before that, I made 133,000 in August. So it balances out, right? I mean, I have a big month in August. I had a big month in July. Like these are really big months for me. I took some losses here in September. And then I took pretty much this week for October, I've been on a win streak. We won on Monday, we won on Tuesday, we won on Wednesday, and then we won on Thursday. So I'm currently up a little more than 57. I basically recouped my losses from September within a week's trading. So, one thing that you guys have to understand is risk management, right? When the market's not moving in your favor, lower your risk. When the market's moving in your favor, increase your risk because you can balance out pretty quickly. Like you can have a shitty month, but if you know how to how to control your risk and take less riskier trades on certain times of the year, then you'll be able to bounce back pretty quickly. You just got to understand when to do certain things. Anyways, guys, the so we're still waiting for 710. Again, I'm looking for the possible reversal over here because the trade here is against momentum. Don't have it yet, but that's what I'll be waiting for. Let's continue to look at the overall trend. So the overall trend over here is now bullish again. The pretty much is bullish across the board. The 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute prices above the pivots. The trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. Looking over here on the higher time frames, the 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour price is above the pivots. The trend meter is green and the pivots are angling up. So with that said, we have a overall very strong bullish bias. Looking at my daily outlook for the day, we had neutral to bullish with medium conviction. The fundamentals were leaning bullish while technicals also showed a bullish drift with the potential of range. So with that being the case, it was a 7 out of 10 alignment. Everything here is lining up for a buy, right? My overall market bias over here is for a buy. My overall trend bias over here is for a buy. My overall market structure over here is also for a buy. Look down here. It's strong bullish on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 1 hour, and 4 hour. So obviously, if you're looking to take trades here, I mean, the buys would probably be ideal. But the thing is, this doesn't mean price is going to forever keep climbing, right? Eventually, this thing is going to be overextended and then it's going to come back down. With that being said, that's why my algo over here, I'm looking to see if this here is going to point me towards that direction. Because if that's the direction that we're going at, I mean, this could be a nice setup because it is a 90-point move, but we have a whole range over here, basically this whole area that price can come back down to fill, or not really fill, but like, if people sell off and people start taking profit, it's going to come down, possibly down to here. But we'll see. Again, there's no need to force anything. It's not really NFP, but it was scheduled to be NFP. And you're gonna get some weird market movement here. Nice, nice. So Chris said he took the 6 a.m. trade for a few accounts, got out early, but still at the 20-minute mark to avoid market open. Made some profit. It was moving slow as Christmas. Yeah, Chris, me too. So I was really tempted to get into that 6 o'clock entry, and you can see it was moving extremely slow to the downside. I was really tempted to get into it because it looked really good, right? And I'm glad that you booked profits there. I think if you do want to take trades pre-market like that, just close it out before 6:30 because the 6:30 candle is going to cause a huge, huge manipulative move. But nice work, Chris, on catching that there. All right, let me check out the Zoom real quick, the chat. Let me scroll up. So I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Talanji's asking, or let me scroll up a little further. So Talanji's asking, what TP stop loss did you use for the 1 minute stats? I think I did a 50-50 for that one, Talanji. If you want me to check any other stats, the thing with the 50-50 or for the one-to-one, so if you're doing one-to-one for the breakout, you just have to be above a 50% win ratio, right? So this is a 90-day period. This is a pretty long period for one-to-one. Let's do a whole year, so 365 days. It's still profitable. You're gonna get some like drawdown, of course, but it's still profitable for a whole year's period. So basically 269 trades. Right here, it's 65 trades. If you want me to run different stats, Talon, you just let me know. If you want to see, I forgot what number we put. We did 80-40, I think, right? So if you do 80-40, it's still pretty high. It's a 46.15% win ratio. So anything above 33% is profit. I think this win ratio is actually better long term. So if we were to do this here, and you can see I have it marked up right there too. So if you took it 80-40, that'd be a beautiful trade right there. You get double the profit. I would stick with the 80/40. I think that's probably gonna be your sweet spot. All right, it is about to be 7 o'clock right now. So here's the thing, price is starting to turn around. I was hoping the turnaround would last a little longer, but it's starting to turn around here. It might be a little too early. So here's what might happen. If we get a sell signal here, that 7 o'clock entry is going to be a buy instead of a sell because it's against momentum. We'll see. Let's see. Ross said it didn't come out today because Biden administration was lying about the numbers and they won't release anything until they figure it out. They're making them look, they're making him look better for his reelection. Hopefully not, Ross. Hopefully that's not the case. I don't know if, yeah, there's no way Biden will get reelected, but I don't know if that was sarcasm, but yeah, it's gonna be a big no for me. Um, we'll, I mean, we'll see what happens here in a few, guys. We'll see what happens here in a few. Again, like I said, I'm not looking to force any trades today. If I don't get anything, I'm not going to force it. But if I do see something, obviously I'll get into it. This is the good thing about the algo, right? We're not always like waiting for an entry. We already know what time the entry is going to happen, so we can kind of sit back and chill out for a bit until it comes back to this time. Um, Here are the settings right now. So I have my scanner running basically through the best possible entry times with the highest win rates um, for this specific criteria, right, with a 90/45. So with this being the case right here, the best time to take entry would be at 7:10. The next one's going to be at 8:35. So if you guys are not familiar with my algo, I think some of you guys here are new, or you guys didn't sit in on the earlier sessions this week. Basically, what my algorithm does here is it runs through all of the possible entries during a period that I select, right? So I selected the all the best entries between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock because that's my trading time. And it basically tells me exactly when to enter. The cool thing with this is that, you know, a lot of people like to trade based off of a lot of people like to trade based off of price, right? So you see a lot of people who like to trade like they're like, oh, I'm going to get in at 47.80 or something like this, right? Like say people think this is a resistance and they're like, oh, I'm going to get in at 47.81, right? The difference with my algo here is that it's not based off price, it's based off time. So instead of looking for a price to come to a certain area, like for example, people anticipate this as, oh, there's a support right here. So they're looking for price to come down here and bounce, right? For me, I'm basing all my trades based off time, not really price. So there's no price action here. There's no technical analysis really. It's just based off time. My algorithm identifies where the momentum is moving during certain times of the day, and then it takes all the data for the past 2 or 3 weeks, depending on where I set it to, and it gives me the profitability of that specific trade at that specific time. So that's why, like for me, I don't really care about like where price is at. I don't care if there's a structure. I don't care about supply and demand. I don't care about any of that stuff because I'm looking for time-based entries because you can't tell me that this is random, right? Like you can't tell me that every day for the past 20 trading days. So for the past 3 weeks, basically, market has moved at 752. Right? This isn't random, right? There's no way that like price moves at like 710 or 711. 730 makes sense, right? Like if you were to tell me price is going to move every day at 630, of course it's going to move at 630 because market opens up at 630. But to identify that price is moving at 710 every single day, so let me just go over here to the list. So every single day at 7:10, my algorithm over here identified that, okay, there was momentum swings at the same exact time, right? Entry at 7:10, entry at 7:10, entry at 7:10. It shows all the wins and the losses. This tells me that this isn't random. 7:10 is not a random time. This is a time where a lot of institutions or market makers, they like to trade. They trade at that specific time. And then the catalyst where I identify the direction of price is my momentum signal. So whenever price reaches 750 or 710, price is either going to go up or it's going to go down, right? So this helps because it prevents us from trading in the chop, right? What happened a lot of times in September where I took all these losses. So I took a lot of losses in September because we were trading the chop. We were trading at the wrong time. So I kept trading at 6:30 and there was like huge chop around that time. I wish I had my algo at that time because this would tell me that obviously there's no good entries at 6:30, right? The good entries come up pre-market or it comes up after. So now that we have this algo, it tells me, okay, just don't trade at 6:30. 6:30 is probably like the worst time to trade unless you're taking the breakout, like what Solange was talking about earlier. If you want to take the breakout, at least look for the probabilities that work in your favor. So you can trade at 6:30, but you got to use proper risk to reward, right? You have to have a proper TP stop loss to be profitable long term. And if you use an 80/40, like for example, we have right here, this is what's considered uh, a good TP stop loss to use, and you just have to adjust your risk. Because what happened before is we were doing like 40/20s and they were too tight. Like because of the big spike, we get stopped out. I think my next step, and I'm probably not going to be doing this anytime soon, but the next step that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to produce an algorithm for the orb entry so that I can do the same thing here and put the data in and I can identify what is the best TP stop loss for the orb, right? Because that'd be pretty cool. I think if I had the stats for the orb here, I could identify what's the best TP stop loss, right? Whether it's a 40/20, whether it's a 50/25, whether it's a 60/30, etc. Whatever gives me the highest probability long term for the orb, maybe I'll go back to take the orb, but I need to figure out what's the numbers that actually make sense. So, I've made a big shift in my trading over these past couple weeks. I've been developing this algorithm for a couple months now. I honestly I didn't know how to code, so I had to learn how to code, and then I learned how to put the logic into the code. And now that I have these numbers here, I've become more of a data-driven trader. Before I would trade, based off price action and based off technical analysis, but I still use my same strategy. I trade based off momentum, but now I use probabilities to identify what's a good trade and what's not. So just something to keep in mind. I feel like I kind of unlocked. I feel like I entered the matrix to some extent because it's crazy how like these numbers here, like it makes sense now. Like my strategy had a pretty good win ratio, but the thing is we would like lose trades because we'd be trading at the wrong times, choppy markets. Like for example, right here, see how market's starting to chop up a little bit? It's not a good area to be trading in. But the data here shows that once we get closer to 710, it's gonna break out of this chop, right? And if we want to go back and look at previous entries at that specific time, so look at this real quick. So this was an entry that happened same exact time, 7:10 at on October 2nd, which is yesterday. See, price is moving around that period. Same with, let's go back another previous day. Looking at this right here, price started to move around this area. So this is why the algorithm is like super useful. The algorithm isn't going to tell you exactly, what's going to be 100%, but it's going to give you a probability. So for example, over here, look how price is moving. This was on September 30th on Tuesday. Price was moving downwards. It went sideways for a bit, but it already predicted that it was going to move bullish, or not bullish, but just there was going to be a momentum swing after. So entry would happen right here for a long, and then it climbed right back up right there to hit its target. And this is like really useful because you can just go back to historical data. I can just pull back as many trades as I want, and I can see over here, like there's market chop, but the data here shows that eventually it does make its way down to where the target's at. So, all right, it's about to be 6:10 right now. It's 6:07:06. So if this is the case right here, we have a sell momentum. What I'm expecting here now is an actually continuation back up. So I see price over here dumping down a little bit. It's probably going to consolidate for a little bit and then shoot right back up. So entry right here for 90-point target, 45-point stop loss, 710. All right, I'm not convinced that this is going to be a good entry yet, so I'm not really itching to take this trade. I mean, the volatility here is starting to flatten out a little bit. I mean, the buys do look good though, because the overall trend here is very bullish, right? It's bullish on the 1, 5, 15 on the shorter time frames. It's also bullish on the higher time frames, 30, 10, 1 hour, 4 hour. Looking at market structure, it's also very bullish here. It's also very bullish right here across the board. It's bullish for market structure across the 1, 5, 15, 30, 1 hour, 4 hour. So the buys here do look good. If you want to take the buy here, of course, here's the problem. See the buy signal coming up? If the buy signal comes up, then it's actually going to flip back to a sell because it's against momentum. I think ideally, I mean, actually, I don't even have an opinion here on the direction of price. If you're going along with overall trend and overall market structure, then you want to be bullish. If you want to be contrarian and go against it, because here's the thing, there's, if you're looking at price action, price is consolidating right here, but it could also start to set up for a downwards trend, right? If this stays, if this price doesn't get broken. So what I think is going to happen here is probably a range. Eventually, price is going to break out of this area. I'm really curious to see what the 710 entry is going to look like. It's 708 right now, and we'll kind of see what goes on from there. Let's see. Smith is asking, I wonder what the stats would look like for the opening momentum filtering out the 1 minute and the 10 minute that don't agree. So we talked about this yesterday. The problem with and I could probably do that, but the problem with filtering stuff out like that is that the 10-minute candle is so big that the data is going to get skewed, right? Because so for example, if you go to the 10-minute candle, let me go to 10-minute candle real quick. See, here's the problem because see how this 10-minute candle is such a huge candle at 630. This is okay because in this situation, see if we had an 80-40, price doesn't spike both ways, right? So you already know this trade's going to hit. It's going to be a buy or it's going to be a win. But if you go back to like previous 630 candles, like for example, damn, I have all this stuff marked up. Let's go to let me just click. I'm going to take everything off actually. Or I don't need to take everything off. Let's see. Um, I'm just gonna look for a 630 candle that's like choppy. So it's not gonna make a big deal right here because this is not choppy, right? It's an obvious win because price goes straight up. This is an obvious win because price goes straight up. But I'm looking for a candle here where it's choppy on open because when it's choppy on open, it's gonna cause here, I'll change the settings here real quick. Yeah, when it's choppy on open, you get like it doesn't track it properly. So for example, right here. No, this isn't right. This is obviously a sell because price never retraced back. But what we got a lot in September. Let me go to September. 630. Okay, so this might be one of those candles. Okay, this is one of the examples that I was kind of, oh, never mind. It's still good. It would be a win. Okay, so this is actually a really good example right here. So see how we go for the 80-40. The thing here, it shows that it's a win, but it's actually a loss if you look at the data here. Because the thing is, it spikes up and it hits stop loss and then it comes back down. But because we're on the 10-minute time frame, it doesn't track that. You can't go to the smaller candles to see what had actually happened during those 10 minutes. That's why for me here, I don't like basing it off the higher time frames because you're going to get skewed data. You're probably going to get better numbers on the probability. But the issue with this here is that it doesn't track it properly. Like the data here is going to be incorrect. It might not be very bad because you don't have days like this that happen every day, right? This happens like maybe once a month, maybe a couple times a month. So your data might be slightly skewed, but for the most part, this kind of screws with the data. That's why I can't do it on the higher time frames. Initially, I really like to see that, but again, right here is another situation where these candles are so big that you don't know if it hits stop loss or target before. I mean, this one obviously hits target, it doesn't actually pull back that far. All right, guys, the entry right now at 710 is currently running. It is a short position. If you guys are looking to take this here, it's currently running in profit. Again, the stats for this is a 63.16% win ratio. Target is going to be 90 points. The stop loss is going to be 45 points. If you guys want to take it, go ahead and take it at your own risk. I personally, I don't really like the direction of the trade right now because we're currently in this chop. I mean, not to say that this isn't going to come down. This is actually I think this could be a solid possibility of it hitting because if we're in this range right here, see if price ranges back down, it's probably going to hit the target there. Again, I just don't like taking trades that have such a wide TP stop loss. I'd rather get in and out right away. The data here doesn't give me entries for a tighter TP stop loss. So not exactly here. Let's just test it out actually real quick. So the data over here, I have it set to 90/40. Let's just put it in 40/20 real quick. I'm just kind of curious to see how this trade hit on the on pretty much a tighter TP stop loss. And this is against, yeah. So it's updating the report right here. The numbers here are going to change in a little bit. I'm just curious to see if 40 points hits pretty often. No, I mean it hits okay, but it's not high enough for me to want to take it. I like to have my profitability or my probability of it to be at least above 60 to 65%. This is 47. It's still profitable because like we mentioned before, you just have to be above a 33% win ratio. And you can see over here, I mean, the stats show that it's good. I mean, it's decent, but there's going to be periods of drawdown. For example, over here is a drawdown right here. It's 1, 2, 3 losses, and then back into wins. And then for this over here, it currently has 2 losses. So if you're to, run this back and kind of see, okay, there's 2 losses right here, the next trade might be another loss because there's a history here that shows that when it has losses like that, whenever there's 2 back-to-back losses, there's usually a third one is what I'm trying to get across. So yeah, not exactly the entry that I'd be looking to take. Again, the higher split is going to be better, 90 to 45. But for me personally, let's check 50/25. I'm just kind of curious to see these lower numbers to see if the probability goes up higher. Because if that's the case, that can tell you that, okay, maybe move your stop loss and profit at the 50, right? Maybe don't go for the full 90. Maybe go for the 50, or maybe go for the 60, or maybe go for the 70. And we'll see. Let's see. Talanji said, have you done any testing on the 5-minute momentum, or would it be not relevant enough? Yeah, it'd be the same problem, Talanji. The same problem because that 6:30 candle, that 1 minute candle could be a big spike. So if you're basing it off the 5 minute, it's going to be the same problem that we run into on the 10. I mean, I wish there'd be a better way to test it, but TradingView just doesn't offer that option. They don't offer the option. Because what I started to notice was so like last week, right? Last week we took a trade on Friday, I think, and it lost. And I was like, damn, this like the 10-minute showed that it was gonna win. And then I looked at the data on that Friday and it actually showed that it won. And that's when it kind of lit up a light bulb in my head and I was like, oh, this data isn't correct on the higher time frames. Because yeah, let's go back to that. Let's go back over here real quick. So I forgot we took a trade on Friday and I think it lost, but then it said that it won. Let me go over here real quick. It was like Friday of last week. Yeah, see, like right here, like this threw me off. Or no, this one was a loss, but there was a trade last week where the trade obviously lost, but then I looked at the data and it said that it won. So I think it was this one right here. Yeah, it was a trade on Thursday. This is what like I saw this and I was like, this isn't good data because this trade on Thursday, we took this and we lost a trade, but then I looked at the trade history and it said that it won. So it like actually no, I fixed it. So I fixed it. It actually does show a loss here now. But when I saw it initially, it showed a win. It's because I had to play around with the data, right? If you remember this, I think I changed this to like, oh, because the numbers were off. I think if I shift it, yeah. See how I shifted it a little bit, bro not Brock, Talanji. Brock just showing the room. So right here, it shows that it was a win, but it was actually a loss. See, because the trade was taken right here on the close of the 620 candle. And it shows that it entered right here, but it exited down here. Realistically, it exited right here because it would have stopped it out before it came down. So what happened is entry happened right here, stopped out, and then it came down to target. So that's why I don't mess with this anymore, the higher time frames. The 1 minute's accurate though. The 1 minute, because you don't go through those big kind of random candles. It chops it up by the specific candle. Yeah, there we go. You just got to put in the proper settings to identify it properly. Yeah, 46. That's still a good win ratio for the 1 minute. Yeah, it's Logic said, yeah, and testing high momentums on lower time frames glitches also. Yeah, I mean, I wish there was a way to fix it, but TradingView can only, you can only do so much with TradingView. They're getting better, but nonetheless, you can only do so much. So again, this is another reason why I skipped the trade, and I'm glad I did because I didn't want to be stuck in this position where I'd be running back and forth for a while. The next opportunity that I might be looking to take, a big maybe is going to be at 751. But again, I probably won't take that trade because looking over here, it has a really high or a pretty decent high win ratio. The one at 752 actually has a really high one. So at 752, we have a win ratio of 73.68% for a 2040, but it lost nearly every Friday. Again, today's Friday, so today's not going to be a magical Friday where the trade actually works. It works every other day, but Friday is usually not a good day to take this specific entry. So I was testing the data over here for the 50. It's still low percentage. I think for this here, you'd have to have a pretty wide TP stop loss to survive the move. It wouldn't survive anything tight. That's why my algorithm over here told me specifically, if you're going to take this trade at night at 710, you have to use a wide TP stop loss. Can't use something too loose. And also you're going to be going against the trend too. So everything here is pretty bullish. You're going against the trend, you're going against market structure, you're going against a lot of things here that keeps pushing price to the upside. That's why initially I would have been okay with this for a buy versus a sell. So I'm gonna clean this up real quick. I'm not in this position. We're gonna adjust to the next opportunity, which is gonna be at 751. So 751, again, I still haven't taken anything today because the stats just don't show that these are good entries to be risking on. 4020. Okay, so I'll run this down with you real quick. Like this is the entry we've been taking pretty much every day this week, 751. I'll show you once the stats have come up right here. It's currently updating. Let's see. Sorry, as I'm looking at the other chat, looks like there's a lot of messages here that I kind of missed out on. Yeah, guys, if you had any questions in the chat and I missed it, just put your question in there again and I'll take a look at it. Sorry, guys, there's just a lot of stuff going on and I wasn't able to see everything. But if you guys had a question and I didn't get to it, just put your question on the chat again and I'll look at it. There's just too many, there's too much on there that I can't, it's hard for me to go through it. So if you guys had a question that I didn't get answered, just put it back on there and I'll look at it right now. I'm just going to look at the most recent stuff. So PC said, based on my data this year, when price rotates into all-time high during, based on my data this year, when price rotates into all-time high during New York session, it usually stays up. Not always, but a large majority of the time. Okay, well, that's good to know, PC. So if that's the case, we might want to stick with buys for today, right? So yeah, thanks for the input on that. If that's the case, then this 751 trade, if we have this bullish momentum and it holds at 751, this could be a possible good opportunity to take the trade. We're also at the all-time high. Thanks, guys, for the heads up on that one. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to again, I haven't taken any trades today, guys. These are my stats for the week so far, but no trades for me for the day so far. Let's go on the 4 hour real quick. Yes, so we are at the all-time high. What a crazy market, huh? It's like we just keep pushing all-time highs. Jobs data sucks. Well, if you look at the jobs market, like NFP data was pretty crappy last month. We even had to have to do a revision, which is pretty crazy. It's something I've never seen before. Um, yeah, the whole economy data, the inflation data, the jobs data, the housing data, everything is negative, but market is still pushing up like crazy. It's a crazy, I've been talking to a lot of people, and like a lot of people are forecasting that there's going to be some sort of flash crash in the market, which I could possibly see happening, but I feel like nobody really knows what's going to happen. A lot of people are going to have opinions, but people have been calling a market crash for the past like 4 or 5 years now. And well, what's been happening? Price has been doing the opposite. It just keeps climbing higher and higher and higher. Yeah, Brock said in such moments like this for YM, I move to NQ to see if it is better. I mean, we could check NQ. Let's see. NQ is actually bearish right now. I'm glad I pulled out. So for my long-term stocks, I hit my target for NVIDIA. I made about like I think 15%. I made a pretty good amount on NVIDIA last yesterday, and it finally closed me out. It looks like my tech stocks are still doing pretty well. I have Amazon right now. I was in the negative when I bought it, so I'm still kind of waiting for it to push up. I'm in the negative just a little bit, $100. It's slowly making its way back up. I have 46 shares of Amazon. It's about 10, 12,000 in value. Uh, I'm only holding two stocks right now. I'm holding Visa and I'm holding Amazon. Once I get out of these stocks, I'm going to be shifting to a different style for my long-term stuff. Um, Not really a different style, but just different. I'm going to be rotating the Mag 7 stocks. If you guys are not familiar with the Mag 7, it's basically like these seven stocks that are anticipated for consistent growth, like Amazon, Nvidia. I can't remember the other ones, but basically there's like seven blue chip stocks that are anticipated to always be bullish. And I just rotate them. So I'll buy like, 10, $20,000 in shares, and then I'll just hold them for a couple of days of a couple of weeks. Once it reaches a certain threshold of profit, I'll shift it into another stock. I'll sell it, then I'll rebuy into another Mag 7 stock. That's it's kind of how I trade my long-term stuff. I don't take anything risky on those accounts. Just stuff that I don't think is ever going to disappear. Let's see. Chris said 710 was basically an MPS V2 and a high-low break and retest. Let's take a look real quick. So looking over here at 710, yeah, exactly. So at 710 right here, this was an MPS V2. We had a buy signal retracement confirmation. So this was an MPS V2. Let me see how far was it though. It might have gotten stopped out though, unless you had a wide enough TP stop loss. So my plan in the future, guys, is to pretty much turn all of my strategies into algos, right? Currently, right now, my algo only runs off the momentum signals, which is perfectly fine. But I might run, or I'm going to try to code all of my strategies into algos so that I can have the actual numbers for all of them. The problem with doing that with these other strategies, like the 1 minute, MPS V2, V1 variation, etc., is that there's so many entries that come up that it's not exactly going to be like the thing is my code here is super heavy where it takes like if I was to update this, for example, say if I wanted to update this to a different target TP stop loss, the problem is that my code is so heavy that see right here where it says updating report, it already takes like 40 seconds to update. If it takes any more than 40 seconds, TradingView just gives it an error. So it's going to be hard for me to code up a 1 minute strategy that's not going to have errors. Like like I wouldn't be able to pull data for like 20 trading days, right? For me, this is a once a day type strategy. So that's why my algo works perfectly fine with a bigger sample. But if I'm going to set this up with a 1 minute trade, like MPS, V1 variation, that type of stuff, it's gonna take forever for it to load up, which I mean it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'll have to figure out a workaround so that this algo can give me perfect times for those strategies as well. It's a work in progress. I'm still working on my coding skills. As I get better, obviously I might be able to put together better algorithms. But for now, I think this is pretty solid. What we have at this moment is good enough. All right, guys, still no trades for me this for today so far. Again, these are my current stats for the week. If you guys want to see it on a calendar view, this is what my trader sync looks like. I'm actually up more because this doesn't account for the trades on Tuesday and Monday, but it's just a little bit more. So I'm probably around like 60,000 for the week, which is good. We have a pretty much win streak for this entire week. Win on Monday, win on Tuesday, win on Wednesday, Thursday. On Monday, I forgot to turn on my copier, so I only have one win on that day, but everything else has been pretty green. Again, we don't have any opportunities here for entry until 7:51. These are my times of entry. Let me update that 7:10 one because it didn't actually work out. So I have a second ledger over here. You guys can't see it, but I have a ledger over here where I'm documenting which trades hit and which trades didn't hit. So I have an idea. So all of these right here, you can see I had like a lot of entries here that I wanted to take. The ones in bold are the ones that I was looking to maybe take. The reason why I didn't take them though are for obvious reasons, right? NFP that I anticipated pre-market. And then also because like, for example, I saw that mixed results on Friday and it lost past NFP. So although there were good win ratios, I went through the history of trades and it showed that it wouldn't hit on a Friday. So that's why I skipped those right there. Same with this one at 7:51, right? As much as I would like to take this entry, it has a 63.16% win ratio with a 2040 TP stop loss with a 1 to 2 risk reward. It loses nearly every Friday. So I don't know if it's going to be one that I personally want to take. So I'll show you again. So I'm gonna give you guys my full analysis of this trade. So what I do in the night before is I go through here and I run through all the data. I see which trades have the best win ratio. Then I put the data in here. And then once I put the data in, it gives me the profitability of the probability of the profitable trade. So right here at 7:51, it has a 63.16% win ratio. It shows that it wins 12 out of the 19 trades. So if we were to do the math on that, and here's the thing, a lot of people will say that this isn't a big sample. The thing is, this is a once a day strategy. If this was basically multiple times during the day, yes, the sample would suck, right? Because you don't have enough trade samples. But this thing covers a 3 week period, basically a whole month of trading. So with that being said, this is actually pretty good for a once a day type strategy. So when I see this profitability, I try to look for a number that's higher above 60% because in order for me to be profitable using a 1 to 2, I need at least above a 33% win ratio, right? If I have above a 33% win ratio, then I'm the odds are already in my favor. The higher the odds, the better. So with this odds right here, the next thing that I look at is I look at the list of trades, right? So I look at the date and I'm like, okay, today's Friday. So let me look at every Friday trade, right? So I'm going to go to my calendar over here. I have another screen with my calendar. And every Friday, I'm going to see if these trades win or if they lose. So last Friday was September 26th. You can see over here, September 26th, it lost, right? Now let's go over here to September 19th, the Friday before that, it lost, right? Then you go to the Friday before that, September 12th, it won. Let me go before that, September 5th, another Friday. We don't have the data here. I can update this a little bit. Let's see. Let's go the past 90 days. So what I'm doing here is basically I'm pulling the data and I'm looking, okay, if the win rate's that high, how many times does this actually win on Fridays or how many times does it lose? from the data here, it shows that it loses almost nearly every Friday. There's only one Friday where it actually won, right? It lost here on the 26th. It um it lost here on the 19th. Uh, wait, are these dates right? Yeah, so lost on the 26th, it lost on the 19th, it won on the 12th, and then NFP was on September 5th. So for last month, the report here is updating. Like I mentioned, my algo kind of takes a while to update because it's so what I did here is I'm siphoning through 90 days of trading, right? So before I was only siphoning through about 30 days. Now I'm going through 90 days. What my algo is doing here right now is it's pulling data, basically 20,000 candles. It's going back and reading 20,000 candles to identify how many entries came up around that time, what are the losses and what are the wins. So looking over here on the 5th, you can see there was a loss. This was NFP last week. So, I mean, this is basically what I do, guys. I go through the numbers and I go through the data. And if the data shows that it loses, again, right here, August 29th, a loss on Friday. So basically every Friday, this trade, or not every Friday, but majority of the times it loses. Here's the previous Friday it won. It's on the 22nd and then the 15th. So after seeing these losses on Fridays, it already tells me like, okay, don't take this trade on a Friday. Even though the win percentage is high, it just means that, or it just tells me that it's not good for Fridays specifically. Every other day, I'm fine with taking those entries, but not on Fridays specifically. So again, if you guys want to take this entry, I'll mark it up for you guys. It just kind of depends on the direction of price. If it's going in my direction, I'll take it. If it's not, then I probably wouldn't. Ideally, I think a buy here would be more ideal for entry. But then again, price here is super overextended, so it might not be a good idea. I think what you want to look for here is I want to see some consolidation, and then I want to see the entry for an actual buy. So we can kind of do what's happening right here, right? Consolidation and then buy back up. So consolidation, buy back up. But we'll see. Um, I was trying to get this algorithm out to you guys for this week. I don't know if I'll be able to get it to you guys this week. I'm kind of busy today. I have another meeting with Apex. So I'm meeting with the Apex executives today at 11. We're going to be talking strategy, game plans, stuff like that. I'm going to be giving them like your guys' input of like stuff that you guys want. I'm planning my trip with them to New York to go ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. If you guys weren't on the live session yesterday, basically I had a meeting with Apex. They're meeting with their top traders in the US or in the world in general. Uh, Apparently, I'm like the top 200 in the US. I'm not top 10 or top one, but I'll take it at being top 200. Basically, they want to fly all the top traders from Apex to New York for the New York Stock Exchange so that we can all ring the bell. So I'm basically in discussion with them to be working with them basically. What they want to do is they're trying to be like the best prop firm in the space again. You know, years back, Apex was like number one. Today, there's like so many other prop firms that are kind of taking the top spot. Like Tradeify is like one of the big ones because it has straight to funding. Um, Top Step, of course, and all these other companies. So Apex is basically looking to connect with like their top traders, especially traders who trade live like myself, to basically push Apex. So we'll I'll keep you guys updated on like because I'll have the inside scoop on basically what's happening and what's going to be coming out, what's the best promos and stuff like that. But there's a lot of big things coming with Apex. We went over a quick meeting earlier this week, and they have a lot of cool things that are coming. So they're making changes to the trailing drawdown. Of course, direct to funding, that's one of the big things. And then and then things that they're doing to compete with these other companies. They already have stuff in line. It's just they're waiting to drop the news, which is probably going to be during the holidays. So we're in October right now. They're probably going to drop the new updates for Apex like closer to November. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to be working with Apex. You know, I've always liked Apex from the very beginning. I've always liked Apex. A lot of people don't like Apex for specific reasons, you know, trailing drawdown and stuff like that. But I do like the fact that they give you 20 accounts. You know, if you think about 20 accounts direct to funding is is going to be pretty intense. Like, so the cool thing is if Apex gets direct to funding, you won't have to do the eval phase, right? So I'd rather pay the premium to just get the direct to funding and just get straight into making profits. Because I feel like with a lot of people, the hardest part is really passing and then staying funded. But if you could get funded already and then start making profits out the gate, you could take more risk. Like for me, I break my risk into about four trading losses, right? Or eight. I have to lose 8R basically to blow my accounts. If I had straight to fund it, I could lower that to maybe 3R or not 3R, three losses, but 6R in total multiple. So I could take more risk, make more profit, and if I blow the account, that's fine because I'll just buy another one versus having to do an eval phase again. I think that's the worst part about Apex. It's just I don't like the eval because it takes forever for you to pass, especially if you're doing a big account. All right, 737 right now. Let's see. Barack said, bring some 90% off, please. Some free accounts, some goodies, t-shirts, caps, real actually goodie stuff. Yeah, so they're actually going to be giving so I'm meeting with them today. What they're doing is they're going to be running my numbers basically. They're checking out the YouTube, seeing how many people are on here, how many people I'm actually, if it's going to be usable. They're going to be giving me a couple accounts. So I think we'll do like maybe a couple of I was talking to their execs. I was like, we're kind of just brainstorming like how to get people to want to use Apex again. So I think we might do a contest maybe here on this live session. Like you guys can trade paper accounts if you guys don't have enough to afford an Apex account, and then whoever wins like each week, I'll give you guys like a free Apex account. I think that'd be cool, right? Because if you guys can be profitable on a paper account, um, you guys will probably pass the Apex account, and then I mean trading this way is going to be pretty much as long as you guys take the trades that I'm taking, you guys should be good. And then we're doing them for a 1 to 2, so I mean, you guys, it's basically no brainer. So they're supposed to give me like 50 accounts. I'll try to get those codes by this week, and then we'll maybe run a contest. And then whoever wins, at the end of the week, or whoever makes the most profit at the end of the week, will get a free Apex account, which will be cool. The other thing too is the other thing that's cool is so you know how you have the basic split with Apex, they're offering it to bump my split up a little bit higher. So that's like kind of the exchange for me helping them and working with them. They'll bump my split up a little bit higher. I think because right now I'm like at 80/20, they're gonna bump me up to like 90/10 possibly. But again, we have to have these meetings, just negotiate and stuff like that. Yeah, I think the best part about this is that now we have a direct connection with Apex. So if you guys ever have problems with Apex, you guys can just tell me and I can tell them that, and I can connect you with the right person to actually get stuff fixed. Because I feel like that was like the biggest problem with Apex in the past is that you can never get across to like customer support, right? Their infrastructure is actually kind of built out now. They're kind of built out. Like their company is actually pretty big. They have like uh, they have like executives in like different parts of the world. Like right now, there's an executive that I'm talking to that's in LA, and that's who I'm working with because he's near me. So we can like meet and he wants to take me out to dinner and all this so we can talk business and stuff. And they have like a couple in Dubai. It's pretty crazy how like Apex is like becoming a more legit company. I know before they kind of seemed like a scam. Like I told them a couple of things like you guys got to update your website because the website looks kind of scammy. I mean, it looks a little better than it did before, but let's pull up the Apex website. Yeah, I was like, bro, first thing you guys got to do is probably fix this website. Like, what is this? I don't even understand some of this. Like, they're using like these bootleg videos and stuff that makes Apex look pretty and probably get rid of wealth charts. I don't know anybody who actually uses wealth charts. Um, yeah, so like one of the things I'm basically giving them like obvious reasons to like make changes, and we're looking for like community feedback. Anyways, guys, if you're looking for an entry here, the entry is still at 752. We don't have anything here yet, or 751. If there's anything that you guys want me to look at, feel free to let me know. I haven't taken any trades today. These are my stats for the week so far, so I'm still very profitable for this week. It doesn't matter if I win or lose the next trade, I'll still be in profit for this week. So if I do see something great, I'll take it. If I don't see anything too great, then I'm just gonna sit out. I'm happy with what I did for this week so far. But yeah, Lila said it looks like a cartoon. Lila is asking what's a paper account. It's like a demo account. This is meant for people who don't have an who can't afford like an actual Apex account, Lila. But I think what we'll do is we'll probably make it available to everybody, not just people on the paper account, but maybe to you, Lila, if you have like if you haven't maxed out your 20 accounts yet. I'll let you guys know the details once I have my meeting today. Because I don't know how many codes am I getting, but we'll uh we'll see what we can get from there. Yeah, Andrew said I saw they released their financials recently and they are crushing it. Yeah, the crazy thing with Apex is that even though it looks like kind of a scammy company, they're actually a pretty legitimate company. Like they have an actual marketing department, they have an actual HQ, they have like actual executives, they have like they're building out like as a legitimate company. Um, I know a lot of people don't like the owner Daryl because he kind of like people thought he was kind of scammy, but the thing is Daryl's actually been in the trading space for a long time. And he has real world knowledge of this. Let's see. Let me see the other questions. PC's asking, what if you only entered trades on the 1 minute on the higher time frame entry that is currently running in the same direction? Um, yeah, I mean, I could probably do that. Let me see if I had that option in my back test before, but I don't think it's on here anymore. Yeah, I would have to. I think I removed it. So I had that option before, but I took it off because it made the code too clunky. The thing that I think that will be really useful with our entries here is also using the TPO. Like Brock, are you still here? Let me see. Brock's still here. No, Brock's gone. So Brock here, he likes to trade volume. The thing with so like I mentioned with my algo, it identifies time, like time of entry. If you use TPO, which is I forget the name for it. TPO is time price opportunity, but I forgot there's another name for it, like market. Well, whatever. Basically, what this identifies is like wherever the volume is sitting at this point in time. So, for example, over here, if we use these value highs and these value lows, you can kind of use this as a confluence with the times that I have here. So, if you have price reaching certain areas and it's pushing away. So, for example, well, we don't have one here right now, obviously, because price is so far above. But what I would use this for is something like no, not that, of course. This is a pre-market. But let's see. Okay, so this is an example right here. So yesterday we took a buy. Price was rejecting off the value high right here on Thursday, right? And let's look at our entry over here. Yeah. So if we can identify this, like we have a buy entry which comes up and it's also rejecting off market structure here off the TPO, then this is probably gonna be a good confluence that the entry is going to continue in that direction. We have an entry right here at 751. The problem with this is that there's no structure because we're at an all-time high, right? So there's no value high, there's no value low. But using this as a confluence, like I would say if we're taking an entry and we have a rejection off a certain market structure, like the value high right here, and it's a sell entry for the algo, then the odds of it pushing that direction are very likely. Yeah, there's just different types of confluences that you guys can use here. You can use a volume profile, but I would base the volume profile off time, not off of price. because we already have time here. You want the time to align. You basically want the time from the TPO to align with the algo here. And if they line up, it's usually going to push in that direction. All right, we're getting closer to that 7:51 time, guys. If you guys are looking to take this entry, it's going to be a buy, it looks like, because the momentum here hasn't shifted. We'll know in a few, but it is looking like it's going to be a buy. I don't know if it's one that I'm looking to take, though. It looks like this it's going to be a pretty tight stop using 20 points. All right, let me scroll down a little bit. Yeah, Barack actually just stepped out, but it's okay. Let's see. David said, what about your prop firm? Are you still thinking about starting it up? So my prop firm is not like a regular prop firm. It's more of a legitimate prop firm, David. Yeah, so I'll probably start that up in the future. Basically the way that that prop firm would work is I'm going to be training people to trade my exact strategy. So for example, trading my algo, but not just for YM, right? I'm gonna have a multi-asset. So it's basically the Cody Kai Capital prop Terry trading firm. So basically with this, it's gonna be a multi-asset momentum strategy. So basically the same strategy that we're applying here right now, right? Basically, I'll have like one person trade a specific asset. So like it'll be like YM and Q, right? ES, Russell, gold, silver. What else is there? Copper, crude oil. If you think about all of the assets here, so basically multi-asset is like for me, obviously I'll be trading YM because that's what I like to trade. But basically I'm going to be teaching people how to identify these types of entries on every asset. So if you look at the list of assets here for futures, there's a lot of different assets we can apply the same strategy, right? We can apply it on NQ, ES, gold, uh, micro gold, crude oil, Bitcoin, silver. Like basically I could run my algorithm on every single asset on this list. So like with my prop desk, I would have like one specific person only trade NQ, right? One specific person, or not even just a specific person, but maybe a whole team of people to only trade NQ, to only trade ES, to only trade gold. It'll be like a gold department and an S&P department, an NQ department. Because the thing is, if the probabilities are high enough, if you take enough of these trades, um, you're going to yield a profit regardless. So like there, you can see how many futures assets there are here. The reason why I'm sticking to futures is because my hedge fund is registered with futures only. I can't trade other assets. Like we can't trade stocks or any of that stuff. It'd have to be futures. So, but there's a lot of different assets here to trade, right? There's like the bond market. There's just a ton of things here that could be traded under the futures market. My application is still pending. So like once the application is done, maybe we can move towards that. But I'm hoping the application will be processed by the end of this month. But with that prop firm, it's not like Apex. It's not like you can't just trade however you want. You're going to be trading my strategy basically on different assets, and you're going to be trading my money. So, you cut a percentage of that. You're not going to be like it's not like Apex where you sign up and you can blow an account. Like if you blow an account with my firm, you're out, right? I'm not keeping you around. You're not paying to trade my accounts. You're going to be trading my own money. So that's that's basically where this prop firm is going to be running. Like it's a regular, like a legitimate prop firm, not an Apex or a Tradeify or anything like that. Like you're not going to have to pay to trade with my prop firm. You're going to be trading my money, but if you're not consistent and you can't follow the rules, then obviously you're going to get cut. So yeah, David, in the future, that's probably going to be one of the things. I mean, it's hard to run multiple companies like that at once. So like initially, the hedge fund is going to take precedent, and then in the future, yeah, I'll run into the prop firm space um, later on. So all right, guys, if you're looking to take this entry here for the 751, it's going to be a sell. So once this candle closes, if you're looking to take this entry here, it's going to be a 40-20 TP stop loss for a sell. I'm not going to take this trade here. Like I said, it just doesn't look good to me. I mean, there's a possibility that price pushes down from here, but the thing is, I preferably would rather take a buy here, right? The 751 entry here is going to be a sell. It's going to be with momentum. So if you guys want to take it, I'll mark it up for you guys here, but I think the sell here is going to be a little tricky. Not to say that it's not going to hit, but I think it's going to be a little tricky. Okay, so the short position you can see right here, my algorithm identified the short. It's currently running right now. And we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Obviously, I would like for it to hit because I want the strategy to hit. But like I said, it's just kind of risky. Trade's running in profit right now. Let's see. Sam said, "Do you want to be in the limelight, Sean?" I always thought it's not your thing, staying under the radar. Happy for you, anyways. Yeah, no, I mean, for the most part, I probably don't want to be in the limelight, especially if my algorithm here, we're gonna see the consistency. I think the test of time is gonna prove for this algorithm, right? I think October is gonna be a turning point month for us because if this month of October is gonna be very, very profitable, then I should probably hide this from the world, basically. Right now, I'm kind of sharing with you guys because this is I mean, it's exciting, right? I like to share this with you guys because you guys have been with me for a while. I think this is a really cool thing that I've put together and I've created that obviously I want to share with you guys. But yeah, the trading month of October is going to be a really big eye opener for us because you guys are going to see my profits applying just to algo. For the whole month of October, it's only going to be algo trading. So we'll see how the profits yield for this month. Um, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be good because the algo is pretty much it's adapting with the market every single day. So obviously I haven't taken any trades today, but I'm excited to see what the algo is going to yield for this month. Because you do the numbers here. So we talked about this the other day. PC we were kind of joking around how like it does we shouldn't be looking at profits, but I mean let's just be realistic here. So if I was to take and this is a realistic probability 63, it's not super super high. Well, let's do the math real quick. So 12 contracts times times 40 points, right? It's 480. And then here, let's just go up here real quick. I'm gonna have an estimate of like what I should probably expect at the end of the month. So 12 contracts is gonna be 48 points. I'm sorry, 12 wins, seven losses times 20. So basically 480 minus 140. This is gonna be like the possible overall point profit at the end of the month, right? So if I'm gonna do 10 contracts times 5 times 340, that's basically 17,000 per account. And then we'll just say we'll use an example of 20 accounts. So this is the possible profitability trading with a risk to reward of, you know, 60 or with a possible profitability probability of 63%. This is how much profit should be yielded. So, I mean, this isn't going to be the benchmark, but we're going to expect there to be some pretty good profit at the end of the month, of course. I mean, we're almost there. We're at 54, 57. But yeah, I mean, we'll kind of see what this month yields, and then after this month, we'll kick it into full gear. Right now, I'm taking moderate risk. So with my profits for today, for this week so far, I'm taking half risk. If the algo yields like a pretty good, you know, profitability for the month of October, then I'm gonna go pretty heavy. I'm gonna double my risk, probably full risk. And then instead of having like 2,000, I'd be up like 4,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 6,000, 4,000, 4 or 2,000, 4,000. So these profits here will probably be double if I put on more risk. But I'm going to ease into it. I'm not going to be jumping in right away. So here's a trade right there at 751, guys. Looks like it's on its way down. Looking pretty nice. If you guys are in the position, looks pretty nice so far. All right. right, so let's see. Talisha said do something for YouTube. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's going to be open to everybody, right? Not just the people on the Zoom, but also the people on YouTube too for the accounts. Rev said I thought Apex was 90-10 after 25K. I think it's the opposite, Rev. I think it's 90-10 for the first 25K and then it goes down to 80-20. Hindsight says sounds like beehive trading. What is that? I've never heard of that before. Let me look it up. I'm assuming that's a style. Yeah, I'm assuming that's a style. Beehive, I mean, beehive trading, I guess that yeah, you're kind of trading within a beehive if you're like keeping it within the circle. So if you wanna if you're curious like what type of prop firm that I'm gonna be running up, just look up S&B Capital. I base a lot of my stuff off S&B Capital. I read all their books. They've been running for a pretty long time. So if you guys are wondering like what kind of prop firm I'm running that I'm gonna be opening, it's gonna be like this. So just look up S&B Cap. These guys have been trading for like forever. Like they're like the gold standard of like legit prop firm trading. Um, so yeah, not like Apex, not like Tradeify, like not any of those companies. More like S&B Capital. There's S&B Capital and there's also Trillion. Those are like the two big ones. I think the other one is, let's see if I can find them. Or I forget what it's called. Trillion. Trillium. Yeah, sorry, Trillium. So if you guys are wondering like what kind of prop firm I'm looking to open, it's going to be like a Trillium or a SME Capital, where basically they like with these companies, they basically teach the traders how to trade a specific way, and then they trade the firm's money, not like these other companies where you can just sign up and trade randomly. Oh gosh, okay. Beehive was a company in Utah. Oh, that's interesting. I'll look it up. Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like they might not be around anymore, but I wasn't able to pull any data on them. All right, so let's see. Sam is in the sell right now. He's moved his stop loss to break even. So nice work right there. The trade's still running. It's taking a while to hit. Um, I think we're gonna get some move here at 8 o'clock. Once 8 o'clock hits, it's gonna start to move down. Exactly. As Sam said, if the hourly candle went to sell, I'm gonna beam cold. So yeah, I think once 8 o'clock hits, the volatility is gonna pick up. This is probably gonna blast straight to target. I was a little tempted to take this entry, but I'm still kind of glad I didn't because the volatility here is just a little too slow for me. So here he goes, the 8 o'clock candle. It's on its way down, full TP. I call it too early. But yeah, I'm looking for that full TP there to hit. Let's see, David said, are all your prop firm accounts currently Apex? No. So I have Apex, I have Tradeify, I have Perdia, and I have my personal accounts plus the hedge fund accounts. That's why over here I have so many accounts because they're Apex plus Tradeify plus hedge clients or whatever. It's just a lot of different accounts here. But yeah, Apex is one of the main ones. So I think all of these down here are like Apex, the ones that are like the bigger ones. All right, full TP on that trade, guys. So I'm glad it hit. This thing did exactly what we anticipated. My algorithm over here identified the 751 trade. Very high win percentage right there, 73% at the 752. So if you guys took the entry here, there's actually two entries running alongside each other. There was that first one and then the one after. As much as I wanted to take this trade, the stats here show that it lost nearly every Friday, so I wasn't going to take that risk. Um, but I'm glad that you guys here who did take the risk, it did hit your target right there. So Sam's actually holding it. So nice work, Sam. Yeah, so hindsight said you had to perpetrate their strats to prove yourself, then they'd fund you once you went from bronze to gold level. Yeah, that's kind of my goal too with my prop firm guys is you guys will probably be paper trading my strategies. So you'll have access to my algo here and I'll teach you how to do the research and how to back test it, or not really back test it, but test it to identify your probabilities and odds of it hitting. And then you'll probably paper trade it for like maybe a month or a couple months. And then if you're consistent, then that's when you get the actual invitation to the prop firm where you actually become a prop trader and trade my cash. That's the goal. So anyways, guys, full TP on both of the entries right here. There was two entries that came up for the algo. It was at 751. I did have these both marked up and they both hit. So great work on that if you guys caught that. Like I said earlier, this was a trade that I was really, really tempted to take. Here, I'm gonna just double line through it. But because of the day today, with it being NFP and with it being Friday, I decided not to take it. But I'm glad that the trade here did hit. There's actually a couple here that hit. Yeah, so right here at 751, this one hit. You can see I haven't bolded out because these are the trades that I actually look to take. So 751 hit full TP, 752 hit full TP, and there's another one right here at 753 that was a 30, let's see, it's right here, 753. It was a 753 is right here. So I mean, if I really wanted to enter it, I could have entered it late. This trade's actually still running. It's a 70-point target, 35 stop. There's one more trade that's currently running right now. It's about to hit target and full TP again right there. So three back-to-back entries right here identified by my algo, 751, 752, 753. They all hit full TP right there. So perfect entries right there. Jonathan said got 50 points. Thank you, Sean. This algo is great. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Let's see, Rev said I just checked. You keep the first 25K, then it's 90-10. So I think that's if you're on a simulated funded account, Rev. Once they move you to a live funded account, the split changes. I don't know if there's a data on that on the FAQs, but it's kind of the same with like a lot of different prop firms. So there's three different phases. It's eval, and then sim funded, and then live funded. Once they move you to the live funded, you're trading like live funds, and they change your split a little bit differently, and your rules are different because then you don't have rules anymore. So I don't know what it is, but I'll have to look into it. And I'll probably talk to them about it a little later today too. But the numbers are like slightly different and skewed depending on like what type of account you're on. Anyways, guys, great moves over here. If you guys caught this, I mean they all pretty much hit. Lila said, "Have you decided the hedge fund split?" The hedge fund split's still the same, Lila. Nothing's changed with that. It's pretty much the same. Nothing has changed with the hedge fund split. There's going to be a different option though. So like there's a split option, and then there's going to be another option where you can just pay a fixed rate. Like for example, instead of splitting your profits, like say, like if you made a lot of profit, you're not going to want to split 50-50, right? So I'm going to offer another option where you'll just pay like a flat rate depending on your contract size. So every month you'll just pay a fee for the service, and then you don't have to split your profits at the end of the month. I think that's probably going to be a lot better for a lot of people because you'll already know what you're going to be owing at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month. And then you don't have to like worry about splitting, like sending me a wire with the funds. And then also on top of that, you don't have to worry about taxes at the end of the year because you're going to have all the funds yourself. So you'll just pay taxes on your profits versus um, having to calculate how much you spent to pay your split and then calculating taxes from there. I'm just trying to make things as efficient as possible because with the hedge fund, if I have like over 100 clients or over 200 clients, you can imagine how much work that's going to be for me and the assistants that I hire, right? Having to email 200 people at the end of each month and like, hey, you owe me this split. If you don't pay me this split, I'm going to take you off the copier, et cetera. It's a lot of work to do that. So I'd rather just have someone just pay a monthly flat rate fee and then I don't have to worry about chasing people for money at the end of the month, who are my hedge fund clients. So we'll keep that. I'll keep you guys updated on that progress. Again, I have my application pending with the regulators for the National Futures Association. So once that's been once that's been processed and the Cody Kai Capital Fund is up and running, I'll let you guys know. But it's not really on the top of my list right now. The top of my list is really just improving this algo because the better and better that this algo gets, the more profitability that it'll yield. So yeah, short position right here, guys. Entry is right here at 751, full TP. So this profitability win ratio is going to go up. It's at 63.16 right now. Because we had a win today, it's probably going to go up to like 64, 65, 67 for next week. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Pretty much all of the trades here for 7 o'clock hit. So all of my algo entries between 7 and 8 o'clock hit full TP. There's another entry which is going to come up right here at 863. So if you guys want to take this still has a pretty high win percentage as well. This is going to be right here at 836. And then the one after that's going to be at 854. So if you guys are deciding to keep trading a little later today, at 836, it's going to be against momentum. So you guys would need the indicators here, the tools to identify momentum. And then the trade over here at 854 is going to be with. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. Yeah, I agree with you, Lila, 100%. And it's just more efficient because I do anticipate there to be a lot of clients for the hedge fund. So it just makes more sense to just have everything kind of linear and not have to chase people for the split at the end of each month. So, all right, guys, I think that's going to be it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, great week. So these are my profits for the week, guys. If you guys have profits to share, feel free to share them. Looks like a lot of you guys here did pretty well. But yeah, these are my stats. So these are my stats for the week. Pretty good profit. If you guys want to see the calendar view of it, this is the calendar view of my Trader Sync. I made about 60,000 for the week. So 57,490 for Wednesday, Thursday, and then 12,000 on Tuesday, and then 1,000 on Monday. So a little bit over 60, maybe 70,000 for the week across my accounts. And this doesn't account for all of my accounts either. It only accounts for the Apex and then my personal. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, wait, we got some profits over here real quick. Let me just give Lila a shout out. Nice work, Lila, on cashing that right there. So Lila took the trade there for a sell, and she locked in 1,045. Nice work, Lila. Yeah, she took the sell right there. She locked in 1,045. So great work, guys. Again, like I mentioned, I was trading in a way that my probabilities over here wouldn't like work against me. So that's why I decided not to take the trade. But it looks like you guys here did pretty well for those of you who decided to take that trade there. So nice work, Lila. And I think that's it for the day. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'll probably be hanging around. I'm going to be running some tests over here on my algo to improve it a little bit. I'm trying to just get it better and better as the day passes. But I think that was it, guys. So great week. Hopefully this will continue on for the next couple trading months, I guess. I'm really excited to see what the algo is going to yield for this month. I'm super, super excited because imagine having green days every single day for October. That's going to be pretty crazy. Um, and hopefully that'll be the case. But all right, guys, have a great weekend. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise,